Welcome to Chattin in Manhattan Television. I'm Kim Ward.
And I'm Garth Sandiford.
And joining us this evening is Marilyn Ocasio of HelpingHealHearts.com. She wants to talk about forgiveness and gratitude in life and how that can lead you on a road of success. Marilyn, thanks so much for joining us on the CIM set.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you.
I wish you'd tell us a little bit about your website, how you created it, and why.
Well, I started that for a reason that many people go through this. It was a very painful experience for me, and that is divorce. There's so many people getting divorced and so many people that are already divorced. And I wanted to share something and share a message because that is something that is a very painful experience, not only for the ones going through it, but for the family members and the children. So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that anger and take something that has such a bad impact on so many people and turn it around into something positive? And that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, and you know, the statistics say that the divorce rate in America is like almost 50%, if not over 50%, which is kind of ridiculous.
Yes,
in this day and age that it's that high. And so what is it that people are doing wrong? Or if they're not doing something wrong, what is it that they're not doing?
Okay, there's one common word, it's so common in the used language, which is love. It's a word that we all know, but it's a word that is so misunderstood.
Okay.
And it has so much power. The love has so much power. And one of the things that we need to do is to love ourselves. And that's where it all begins. Because if you don't love yourself, how are you going to love others? And how are you going to have others loving you? So we have to begin by loving ourselves. And loving ourselves, we have to forgive ourselves. And anything that we're bringing in from the past, we have to let that go.
Well, you know, you said two things that a lot of people have a hard time with, and that is forgiving and letting go. As most people don't know how to do that. Would you agree, Kim?
Oh, I think it's the hardest thing to forgive and forget. But the key to living is forgiving.
Right.
Yeah.
I always say that it's so simple, yet it's so complicated.
Okay.
Because how do we do that? Someone that is so angry, how can you forgive someone? But we have to understand that anger comes from hurt. And that's where the anger comes from. So that's why it's so important to forgive. And by forgiving, the first thing that we need to do is learn how to become compassionate and be able to look at that other person and put yourself in that person's shoes and try to understand what that person is going through and look at all the good things that that person has, because so many times we're looking at what's not happening or what we don't have and what we're lacking instead of focusing on what we're grateful for and all the good qualities about that person, and let it be known, because there are so many times that you see so many beautiful things about a person, so many good qualities, and you don't tell them, and they will never know.
Well, I like what you're saying, and it reminds me of an interview we did with Charlie Plum. He was a POW for 6 years in the Vietnam War, and he said, never waste adversity. So no matter what someone else does to you, you have to find a nugget of something that relationship or that moment was worth. And if you don't, you're ultimately letting someone control your life or control your feelings. And I think that is a big step in forgiveness, wouldn't you say?
Right. It is definitely a very big step. So I would say the first thing we have to do is be compassionate. And we have to find it in our hearts to really refuse to be judgmental. Because why should we judge others?
But people have a hard time with that.
But that's a
very hard time.
Right, but that's why, and this is why this is so complicated, because it's not an easy thing to do. And that's why I said you have to love yourself. And when you're doing these things, when you're loving others and forgiving others, you're doing that for yourself as well. When you're empowering others, you're empowering yourself.
So let me ask you this. So you said you started this website because you went through a painful experience.
Right.
Did this website helping others in a way heal you as well? And is this the whole moral of the story really, is that by doing good to others, you're actually helping yourself more than you can ever imagine?
Yes. This led me to a spiritual journey. And as I started to look inward and not outward, it totally changed who I was, and it totally changed how I was looking at things. It's all about perspective. And when you change, or when you look at things in a different way and realize that everything that's going on outside of you is a reflection of what's inside of yourself. So you have to stop and reflect and know that you have the power, and only you have the power to feel what you feel inside. And you can only feel certain ways if you allow other people to make you feel that way. No one can take that away from you. Once you find that inner peace, that happiness, that joy that comes from serving others, and that's why I started helping heal hearts, because as I started healing myself, I wanted to share that in healing others. And in healing others and empowering them, I was empowering myself.
You know, a lot of people are hurt, and a lot of people have to go through traumatic events and all this. So I really want you to share with them the moment that you felt your heart was healed. Like, what did that feel like? And do you recall that moment? And how was that for you?
Okay. Well, I wouldn't say there's one specific moment, because it's a journey. As I said, I was on a spiritual journey. And once you realize that a person can say whatever they want to, or if a person hurts you or tries to hurt you, but you don't allow that for you to react with anger, because anger is a reaction, well, that's going to make a whole difference in the world. It's going to make a total difference on how you carry yourself and all the thoughts that you have, because we feel the way we feel according to how we think. How we think is going to cause us to feel how we feel is going to cause us to act the way we act. So it all begins with our thoughts and changing our thoughts.
Yeah, but you know, I hear this a lot. You know, it starts with our thoughts and changing our thoughts, and I'm gonna be the guy that's not so polished. And how do you do that? How do you change your thoughts, and how do you get to that place? I mean, most people, they got so much stuff going on in their life. They're dealing with all these things every day: their kids, their job, you know, the traffic, you know, the government, you know, the media. I mean, everything that's going on. How do people get to that place where they can actually shift and get into that space?
I totally understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm. I have 3 amazing children that I've been blessed with, so I have my hands full with that. And we all do. We have our jobs, we have our children, we're on autopilot. And so we're constantly running on autopilot without thinking and taking the time for ourselves. That's why I say we have to love ourselves and take that time for ourselves. And that's why it's so important to meditate, to take a walk in the park, to appreciate the things that we have. So gratitude is also very powerful. To be grateful for everything that we have our health. So many times we don't realize what we have until we lose it. A person that's very healthy is taking it for granted. They're not taking care of themselves by exercising and eating well. And that's where we're going to get our energy. So that energy is going to inspire us and motivate us to move toward our goals, our dreams. And that's where we are living, and we start to live on purpose, because we want to live, we want to thrive. We don't want to just live and exist day to day, waking up in the morning and just dragging ourselves. We want to thrive.
Well, you bring up one point, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but yes. you talk about energy and having energy. How important is that to really, you know, living a full life?
Yes, that's where it all begins. That's where it all starts, because we are energy. We're surrounded by energy, and that's where the positive energy. And you start with your thoughts and having those positive thoughts. Mm-hmm. Those positive thoughts are going to give you positive energy, and you're going to be surrounded by positive people, positive circumstances. Once you change your thoughts, you're going to have a shift, and you surround yourself. And if you stop and ask yourself, who am I surrounding myself with? Who are the 5 people that I mostly spend time with? Because you're going to become like one of them. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be surrounded by people that are constantly complaining and constantly talking about what they don't have and what they're worried about. And you don't want to be surrounded by that. You want to be surrounded by people that are going to empower you, people that are going to make you feel good, that you're going to laugh and have a good time. And that is going to give you that energy, that I call it vibration. So you have a positive energy that's a high vibration. So that's going to attract all those other positive people and circumstances into your life, and that is a fact.
Yeah, I believe that. Hang out with that which you want to become.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to go back to the whole grateful and having gratitude, because I think that's a huge part of what is holding people back nowadays.
Right.
Because you said something really powerful about that. People can have all these great things in their life, but they can be missing like one thing. Like maybe they don't have money, maybe they don't have love, but they focus on that one nugget they don't have instead of focusing on all the great things like having, 3 great kids or having good health.
Yes.
If we woke up every day and instead of complaining about what we don't have and focusing on the one thing that we do have, how could that shift us in our entire day?
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because the first thing that I do when I wake up in the morning is write a gratitude list. And I'll write 10 things that I'm grateful for. And when you do that, and I recommend everyone to try this, because when you do that, your energy will shift and it sets your tone for the day. Because then you're thinking about what you do have, that you have your health. That's a miracle that we have every day. We have miracles around us every single day, and we take it for granted. We don't realize, because we see it every day, but not until we lose something like our health or anything to that effect, then we're going to realize that, wait a minute, we're surrounded by miracles every single day, and we take it for granted. So we have to be grateful. Yeah. And when you're grateful, you're going to shift and you're going to have that positive energy, because if you're focusing on what you're lacking and what you don't have, you're going to get more of that.
And it can be simple, right? This list of 10, it can be something super
simple. It could be the pen that you're writing with.
Yeah.
Because it's...
And it's probably so much easier to create and expand from a place of healthiness and abundance than it is when you're sick or you're having a challenge and you're trying to get back to at least zero, where you can actually create from that space.
Tell us about a success story. Tell us about somebody who has emailed you, wrote you, or called you and said, hey, look, Marilyn, your website has changed my life.
Yes. Well, I have people reading my blog from all over the world.
You do.
I started a blog because I read this book called... It's from the Secret. So it's called The Magic, and it tells you how to create magic in your life within 28 days. Because we have a magic. We're born with this magic. We have this joy when we're children, and somewhere along the line we lose it, because when we're children we have authorities telling us what to do and how to act and how to behave, so we become programmed according to those authorities. So we forget to be who we really are, and we lose who we really are. That's why it's so important. That's why I say it's so important to love yourself and to just be. And we lose ourselves, like you said. We're on autopilot, and we forget to be and to enjoy life. This is one life that we have. But going back to success, when I receive emails in the morning from someone telling me, thank you so much, I've been looking for something like this, you helped me, I read this every day and it's helped me. That alone is a huge success for me. To know that I am touching someone's life, and to know that maybe it's one thing that I said that they needed to read, or one thing that they heard on my radio show, and that's so fulfilling and so rewarding. There's nothing better than that. It's priceless.
And you've had quite a career. I mean, you've done television, you've done radio, broadcasting, modeling, you name it, you've done it. Would you say right now you're living your purpose and you are more fulfilled by an email like that in the AM than meeting all the people you've met and doing all the great things you've done?
Absolutely, definitely. That is so fulfilling and so rewarding. And I know you're living on purpose when you wake up in the morning and you just can't wait to start your day. And when you feel like every cell in your body is dancing because you know that you're helping someone.
So listeners, if you're not being happy every morning and waking up to go to work isn't doing it for you, go to Marilyn's blog, go to her website, get on track.
Yes.
Marilyn Ocasio, thank you for joining us in a chat in Manhattan.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you.
You're an inspiration, and I think we're going to hear so much more from you in the future.
Thank you so much.
You are watching Chattin in Manhattan Television. I'm Kim Ward and Gar Sandiford, and we go past the biographies of successful individuals to bring you the real story.